Live button, live.
I've pressed. Now it's gone live. So we've really not started the way we would have liked to. We've pretty much started like Sri Lanka started their chase. But yeah, uh, what really happened? I don't think I can even show my face on the show after. I don't. Okay,
No,
go ahead.
no. One question. Gurkirat, what was the power play prediction that you had?
That is why I was saying that I don't think I should be on this show, showing my face because my power play prediction was 60 for one, and Sri Lanka's all out for 55. So, yeah, just one of those days where it's been, I mean, worse than one-way traffic. How do you describe something like that? Last time I gave Nikhil you the first chance to go. Now today you should take that. Just describe this bowling performance.
I mean, the bowling was perfect, but I'm just amazed how it can happen two games in a row against the same opposition. Like Asia Cup final, that was itself an absolute, tear, and they've done it just like what 2 3 weeks later they've gone and done it again. It's the same bowler that started the collapse. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I just you can say I probably envy the people who are at the stadium right now, Wankhede, because the vibe was just incredible. I mean, it felt like every ball a wicket would fall, and the crowd were also like, it felt like a dream just watching it on TV. I can only imagine how it would have felt to those live in the stadium. Actually, it would have been like nobody will wake up tomorrow and believe that this actually happened. It was that crazy, it was that ridiculous. It was like you can't even bowl like this in cricket 2007 in like one star difficulty. It is just beyond anyone's wildest dreams to pull off a performance like what the Indian bowlers did today. It is just
Forget bowling like that in one star difficulty. Even if you press autoplay, this doesn't happen. Even autoplay doesn't make sure that the opposition gets all out for 55. So, I mean, really, this seemed like probably even more difficult to play than test match bowling. So, yeah. Really, Pranav Anand's really taking the Mickey out in the comments. He's saying laughing at the power play predictions, lol. I mean, yeah, really, it's just been that kind of a day. But coming to Mohammad Shami, is it fair to say that he's like Bradman when it comes to bowling in World Cups?
I mean, I haven't seen Bradman, but I've seen Shami bowl. So
Across
that is something.
conditions, that too across conditions.
Yeah, and it just tells you, how much we all felt. I mean, we all discussed at length about what with Shami, how with Shami, how do you play him, where do you play him, and what. And you look at those numbers: 5 overs, 5 wickets, 18 runs, and it's not even about the runs. It's just the way his ball. You feel he could take 2 wickets in one ball, and I'm not even kidding. Uh, it is it is very very heartening to see that. I think I had a very good. I don't know if it was a good or bad, but I had a monologue at the start of the previous review where I said cherish this bowling performance, because for a lot of Indian cricket fans, we've all waited a long time to see anything like this happen with Indian bowling. Where you have an Indian attack which is just breathing fire from every end. There is no let up whatsoever of any margin, and you have very little room to make any error. And so kudos to all three of them, to Siraj, to Bumrah, to Shami. I think Bumrah bowled exceptionally well to not have more than 1 wicket. It is just insane to see the skills on show. And again, we discussed about bowling having help, but even without that, this is just top class bowling performance for the ages. So there is this. Don't ridicule them if they don't make it to the final. You just have to be with them in this journey, because very rare that you'll have a unit performing like this, because 350 versus 55, it doesn't happen very often. So it just cherish this.
Yeah, and you're talking about cherishing it. I see some people are being a little greedy, and I don't think they're wrong given how things started. Vasant Narayan saying I felt India could have wrapped Sri Lanka under 50. Still a wonderful performance. Unsung hero is Bumrah. He set it up against England with Malan and here with Nisanka. Nisanka has been their best batter. Yeah, I mean, I had Nisanka as my X factor, but clearly, what do I know today? I also probably not a great day for predictions for me. Uh, yeah, I mean, really. What do now is there any way, because this is something that we have to discuss, given we've had so much conversation about that number 8 spot. Now that when Hardik is back, do India go back to Shardul, or do India stick with the same bowling attack?
I don't think it is fair to even think that anybody can go up to Shami and say that that's the thing there, which is not playing 11 bench. Please go and sit there. It will be cruel, and I don't think there is a need for that as well.
Yeah,
Again, if you have Hardik fit, you get him in at 6, and then you just go with this, because how do you, and what you are then looking for, just too many things that are not there. As we discussed about this, the bowling differential that there is, it is going to outweigh the batting differential that you have with Shardul. So there is
yeah,
no merit at this point of time in saying that you want to go back to that combination, and even if it is conditions. Now you may say that, okay, but what if India were chasing today, and then you will still say that you back this bowling attack to do the job for you. That you back this bowling attack, that if the power score is say 320, you keep them to 260, and they are very well capable of doing that, and they have done that so far. If they don't do it, they don't do it. But I don't think you can get something uh, better than this in terms of combination and bowling. It's not that we are hoping against hope. There is one weakling. Everybody has been doing their best, so it will be difficult to get Shardul in, I feel.
yeah. No, this is something like Shami sealing his spot is something we discussed in the England game. I was talking, because the question mark was on Siraj, and it has happened to be sort of the perfect game for India in the sense that the first 11 players who had question marks, Gill, Shreyas, and Siraj, all did well. Pranav has an interesting observation on Siraj. Maybe Anirudh, you can chip in here. He's saying also it was very interesting to see Siraj shifting to around the wicket, something that he's been reluctant to do before. He has great numbers versus left-handers from over the wicket. Maybe he's working on it. Anirudh, what do you make of this observation? Do you see it happening once again, or do you think it only happened because the situation was such that Siraj could have afforded to try out something?
I mean, we'll see going forward how often it happens. But anyway, it feels like Siraj's biggest strength to the left-handers is his ball into them, and also he naturally gets the ball to move away from the left-hander, and also sometimes it brings the inside edges into a play. We have seen that with a lot of left-handers. So I think if he goes around the wicket, he probably takes the chop on out of the equation and brings in more of the, and also the LBW out of the equation as well, which are probably two of his biggest strengths. So I don't think he'll do that often unless and until nothing is happening. But it's always good to see a bowler evolving. So if he has this plan B up his sleeve, then who knows when it will work, right? So it's good that he's clearly developing as a bowler, and still thinking and looking to improve.
Yeah, Raja Humans has come in and said 27 people watching. Please like the button. It's gone to 40. So yeah, all 40 of you, please like this. The number of likes will mean more
The
number
number
of
of runs
wickets.
Sri Lanka will score in the next match.
Neural Hacks with Vasant has come in for with some appreciation for KL for such a keeping skill. That much good takes and a very good DRS one. He alone said to go, it was out, and he said no, it was not out. Yeah, it's something that we discussed earlier that he's been. I think it was in the Pakistan game that we discussed it, that he's been probably the most non-emotional guy in terms of taking the DRS, and he's been pretty much spot on. So yeah, maybe something for the broadcaster to think that from Dhoni review system they could go to decision Rahul system. I've already helped the broadcaster. Nikhil Baiju saying, I feel bad for Nisanka. He was batting so well so far in this tourney. He got Jaffa outswinger from that side release point and finishing off the stumps. Brutal ball. Defied known physics. Yeah, it's. I think before we came on air, Nikhil was saying that I don't like. He said that he doesn't think that Sri Lanka could have done much. Anirudh, do you feel maybe any dismissal that you feel could have been avoided? I'm reading in the comments that where maybe Sadira's dismissal could have been avoided, but do you really think Sri Lanka could have done anything to avoid this, or they just had to hope that luck was on their side?
Well, that's a tough decision. I mean, tough question to answer because it's easy for us sitting out here saying that, oh, they should have done that, they should have done this, but it's not like that. But see, the one thing what we can say is that in these kind of matches, in these kind of situations, the key is that you should always ensure that you don't lose more than two up front, or like more than two or three up front. The moment Sri Lanka went three down, the moment Sadira departed, it was like curtains. So if they managed to, if they found a way to stop the collapse after the dismissal of Dimuth, and if even if they scored 0 runs for the next 6 overs and they were like 11 for 2, 12 for 2 after like 10 overs, I'm sure they would have found a way to at least score like more than 200. But once you lose 4 5 wickets, it's just impossible. But I felt maybe Karunaratne could have probably again anticipated the in swinger. I mean, it felt that he just departed. It was too easy for Siraj that he just bowled a regulation in swinger into the left hander, and just Dimuth showed him his pads and got uh, plumb in front. Sadira, yes, but again, how often do you see third slip? It's a great captaincy from Rohit as well. We say that it's a loose shot, but 9 out of 10 times in any ODI match, that is a boundary or it goes to third man for a single because there is no way there's a third slip. But Rohit put in a third slip, so you have to give credit to Rohit as well. This 50 all out has to do with Rohit's captaincy as well. So but yeah, that's the one thing I have to say, which is if Sri Lanka found a way to somehow just survive the bowling after like losing 2 wickets, they could have done something, but once they lost 3 4, it was done.
Yeah, and in the ticker below, we also have some of the scores by full member nations in the World Cup, the lowest scores. Uh, I'm surprised so far that no one has brought up the Mendes dismissal.
No,
How
I
how
don't
do you?
think. I mean, see, that is something Siraj has had the wood over him,
Yeah,
and that is just a classic. I mean,
yeah.
Kusal Mendes
How do you play
again.
that? Because I think he bowled a similar delivery. I think it was Ross Taylor in Wankhede in a Test match in 2021.
Yeah,
But
potentially,
I
yes,
Was
think
that
yes,
LBW
he
though?
had a similar dismissal.
yeah. And no, I think it was bold only,
Hold.
similar neck and
It
crop,
was bold
no
only.
no no crook.
It was the third
Yeah,
dismissal because then he got, I
yeah.
think, Latham out on the pull with Shreyas taking that. But how do you as a batter just play that, or do you just hope okay it beats you and it misses the stump?
Yeah, and I think that is something you often see, right? When you hear also from the players, ex-players, that you need that bit of luck. That even you talk about the Nissan Ka ball, it was umpire's call on LBW. Now, I mean, it could have easily not been given out, and he stays there for a longer, and there is this some way that you are able to put the bowler off that lane. In that first 5 overs, I don't think there was anything that could have not bowl them to the lengths that they had, and it was just top class execution. See, a good example of this is in the Asia Cup final. We said a lot of things went India's way with the ball for Siraj. I don't think you can say that here. It was just top class bowling. Where in that game, I think Pranav had that comment where he said Sri Lanka played some shots which helped India. Here it was just exceptional bowling, and you need luck to survive that. Without that, it is not going to happen. So and I agree with Anirudh's point on Dimut that again maybe my expectations are high that he's a test batter. He's been in these situations far too often, and he's gotten out LW in this World Cup in the very same manner as well. So it's not a new form of dismissal for him. So Kusan Mendes can say that he got a top ball, but yeah, as I'll agree with Anirudh that Dimut can't say that he got a. I mean, he did get a very good ball, but you expect them to find a way, and that's where that problem also lies. That whether you want a defensive guy up top who is able to keep these good balls out, or you want a guy who might look to shuffle and play some shots to throw the bowlers off the length. But it's a very marginal and harsh call based on just today. But yeah, I don't think there was anything that Kusal Mendis could have done, at least for sure.
Also, I just have a question for both of you. It's been a trend throughout this World Cup. I just wanted to ask, how much do you guys feel the crowd plays a part in these collapses? Because I feel that almost every single collapse we've witnessed in this World Cup when India have been bowling, the crowd has had a huge part to play in it, because I think Pakistan, I think were completely, once Babar's wicket fell, they just capitulated, and it felt like they just were rattled. England were clearly rattled, 100%. I don't have a single doubt that England were rattled, and even Australia to a lesser extent in the first match. I felt that okay, maybe Australia match not as much as England and Pakistan. But even today, I got the feeling that if India were bowling like 9.9 out of 10, the crowd, the atmosphere, and all these things added together made it the difficulty level like 11 out of 10 for the batters. And I felt the same when it came to the England match as well. And Pakistan also, I felt, capitulated in front of the crowd, the atmosphere, and everything. So, how much do you guys actually think, for example, do you guys feel that India would have been able to, even in the same conditions, they would have been able to produce such a collapse in let's say England or Australia or wherever, like if they did not have this particular atmosphere?
See,
Why
but
do you
Wicket.
want to
the
go
games
first?
are not
Yeah,
being played in vacuum, so
yeah.
I'm unmuted. You can't hear me?
No, no, I'm saying you
Go first.
go.
You can't hear me? Okay. No, see, games don't happen in a vacuum. So there is definitely some pressure aspect that comes into play. I'm sure when you have so many people, cheering against you or cheering, your opponent, it's bound to create some pressure, because when you play and miss, there are a lot of oohs and ahs, and you can see how the bowlers being cheered on. And I think the best example of this is what we see sometimes in tennis, especially when an opponent is playing against Federer at a Wimbledon, or probably for that matter at any Grand Slam. Everyone's cheering for Federer and not really for that opponent. Which is why I believe Djokovic has been special in that regard, that so many times when he's had the crowd against him, he still managed to do a decent job and win matches from nowhere. So sure, it must have been a factor. Probably we could only have players say it, but it's something which I don't think players will also admit it, because if you admit it in front of the press, it comes on social media, then everyone starts trolling you, talking about it. But yeah, don't think it is important. Don't think that it is not a factor at all. It may be a small factor which probably just eggs on the team a little bit, but definitely could be a factor, because games are not being played in vacuum. So I'm sure it must have had some effect for sure.
Yeah, fair. And also, see, India is going to get support everywhere. It's not the
Yeah.
first time that India have a support or a crowd that's making noise, but that doesn't always result in, uh, you know, stuff of legends like it has today. I think this team, it's just been that great in terms of executing what they want to do. So while the crowd bit, definitely I agree in terms of it is building an atmosphere, but I just think it's an absolute clarity of role and very good execution that is leading to those collapses. And yeah, the crowd is just adding to the narrative there.
Yeah, one question has come in from Pranav. He's like, should teams close their eyes and bat first here in the semi-final, or there is merit in bowling first still, even if there's a chance of dew? It's been very difficult to bat under lights. Nikhil?
See, I think it also has to come from from the fact that what is your stronger suit. Now, New Zealand's stronger suit has been chasing, which is why they wanted to chase against South Africa. But South Africa's best strength is batting first. So that's where you have to calibrate that what is the higher potential for us in terms of whether South Africa will love batting first, or are we okay to set up a score and defend. So I think that's where you get a very clear answer that, maybe we might be okay to put up a score and then we can defend with our bowling attack, because that will put a lot more pressure on them. So I think it is just as simple and clear as that, because in this tournament you've seen chasing getting easier uh, if teams have been able to execute the skills very well with the bat, with the ball in the first place. So I don't think there's a clear answer. But if your strength is that you feel that for South Africa it is very clearly they love to bat first, put up a massive score, because then it hides some of the weaknesses that the sides have. That and that's, I think that's eventually where New Zealand are also, that they felt that let's bowl first, maybe that will hide our weakness, and then we can back our stronger suit, which is batting, to chase a score down. But like we've seen in every World Cup game, most World Cup games this time, that first 15-20 overs, as Anirudh said, you cannot lose more than two. The moment you lose more than two, no matter if you have batting depth in 11, it will not work out because your cream is gone. So that's where I feel it is, and it will not be the same for all venues, for all situations. But given that the semi-final is here, I wouldn't be surprised whoever wins the toss wants to bat first, because even today, all of us were surprised that why Sri Lanka are opting to field first, but we know the reason, like that they have a thinner batting line, and they feel bowling is their strength, so they feel that is their stronger, more possible opportunity for them to keep them to a score than chase. So it's fair, you can buy that logic as well. But yeah, I think most likely we'll see teams to bat liking wanting to bat first, because I don't think you can control dew in the first place. So and the games aren't going that long any which ways, so let's see.
Babarao Apte is, being cheeky here. Why did you Indians invite all of us if you wanted to do this? थोड़ी शर्म करो, थोड़ा लिहाज रखो, अतिथि तो हो बाबा का क्या. Kanan is asking, I think the only batting lineup that can effectively handle this Indian pace trio is Australia. South Africa can crumble. Anirudh, do you feel confident about Australia handling, conditions or bowling like today, or do you feel, you know, with this bowling, when the bowlers are on song like this, it's not going to make much of a difference?
I mean, in conditions like this, if India bowl like this, I don't think any team will be able to handle. Like, even you can
Even
bring
India.
the best 11 of all time, and I don't think they
Yeah.
will be able to handle it. But let's see. I mean, if I really can't see. I mean, even Sunday, I feel India will walk into the clash as heavy favorites. I know that South Africa have been batting well and all, but I still feel that India will still walk in to the clash as India's. What I mean is India's bowling will walk in as favorites as South Africa's batting, regardless of whether they bowl first or chase or whatever. When it comes to Australia, it's just that, like I said, I feel that Australian batters have a very high ceiling. So that could potentially disrupt India on a given day, on a given particular day. For example, if Travis Head does what he did in that New Zealand
New
match,
Zealand
he
game.
just comes out and same. Let's say the ball swings, but he connects one and it goes for six. If Warner, he just connects one and it goes for four. He hits a pair of boundaries. Then there is no chance that the bowlers will keep bowling the same line and lengths over and over again, because they are under pressure and they will try different things. So in terms of, at least, see, I feel like Australia's top order will be is definitely capable of putting way more pressure on India's bowlers than uh, South Africa's top order, just because I feel two of the three people in South Africa's top order are Bavuma and Wankhede, so they won't hurt you. They can't take the game away from you within the first 15 overs. But Australia, I feel, have a top three that can take the game away from you in the first 15 overs. And also we've
Just,
seen.
just, just, one, just to stop you there. Now, when you talk of the top three, Do you include Marsh or do you talk of
Anyone.
Smith as the number
I
three?
mean, you can include either. It's either Smith slash Marsh, because I will include Smith as well, because even in the Chennai match, I thought Smith started really well before kind of slowing down. I think they had a good start. And if you remember that Rajkot match they played last month in third ODI, Warner and Marsh had like 100 runs stand in like 10 overs, and then Smith came in and scored like 75 of 60 odd balls. So, he can keep the momentum going. So in that way, I feel because of Australia's high ceiling, I'll give them the edge. But if India bowl like this, come on, man, this is their World Cup to lose. It's a no brainer. It's their World Cup to lose here from here.
Yep, Pranav's come in and said that it's pretty much like 36 for 9, where everything they could have done nothing. Neela Kandan has been asking this question for a few minutes, that does KL Rahul slowly uh, he basically means to us that is KL Rahul losing his form. He's getting good start always, and from nowhere getting out. I personally don't think so, because I thought today the situation was such that he had to take it on and just couldn't nail it. Anirudh, do you feel something like that?
Unless and until KL comes in a crisis situation and fails, there is nothing to worry. Like, well, India are well ahead of the game, and he has this 20s and 30s. It's not an issue. But again, I can't see KL being needed for the rest of the group stages anyway. Let's see, anything can happen in semi-final, but I don't think there's any cause for concern, because it happens, man. Like 20 odd he scored when the platform was already set. We've seen so many collapses at the death overs in this World Cup.
Yeah.
So, and also, the ball held up on the surface, and as we saw, it's not an easy surface to bat by any means. So nothing, no need to press the panic button at all.
Yeah. To all the viewers, before we move into the last section of this review, I'd just like to request all of you to please press the like button. All of who are watching, 47 of you. So please press the like button so that our content can show up on your YouTube feeds a lot more. Please do subscribe to cricket.com. Download the app, because these videos you can also watch on the app if you've missed watching them in live while they've been live. Now, the next segment of the show includes, showing the points table. And right now, both India and South Africa have a better net run rate than England's points. So that makes for some reading. Sri Lanka have two games in hand, and one of them is versus Bangladesh on Monday here in Delhi, and then they play New Zealand on next Thursday, which is a week from now, in Bangalore. Uh, can Sri Lanka? I mean, you'd expect that Sri Lanka beat Bangladesh, but with the way they perform today, do they have a realistic chance of beating New Zealand, or do you think New Zealand could turn out to be a little too strong for Sri Lanka? Nikhil, maybe you could go first.
Actually, I'm worried if Bangladesh just find a way to bat, that game also might be very close. And again, it's not to say that I'm taking Sri Lanka lightly, but the problem is the two people who were scoring majority of those runs, they have suddenly dipped a lot in terms of Kusal Mendes. And Nisanka he just got one failure today. He's had 50s before this, but you haven't seen Asalanka also get into that rhythm, and he's someone who I felt is a very good collapse arrester or a momentum changer in that sense, but his performances haven't come as well. So if those two don't click, and again Bangladesh's bowling has been okay, so even that game could be tricky, but again you expect them to do that. And versus New Zealand, again Bangalore, if the surface is such that they again get to bowl first and they were able to adapt to it better, then maybe yes. I think there are also a lot of injuries have not really helped them in terms of their bowling plans and where and how they want to go about things. So expect both games to be tough for them. Hopefully not the Bangladesh one though.
Talking about Asalanka post that 79 in the first game versus South Africa has not been able to score 100 runs together in the next six innings.
It
So
is how apt that there are two such players and they'll face next in Nazmul Hussain Shanto and Asalanka. Both had a
And
very good 50 plus. Nazmul Hussain
Conway,
Shanto.
3.
And Conway. So, but Conway still had a 50 against Bangladesh, I think. So
40 against
40,
Netherlands. Yeah.
so some score, but these two guys haven't even added up to that total of the first game. So uh, they you need it's not possible to compete if you don't have a at least two of the top five being very consistent. So they'll need runs from them.
Yep, because like you mentioned, and what has also not helped is no runs from the number six. DDS hasn't done anything, so he got replaced today. Matthews couldn't really contribute with the bat. So yeah, a lot of things have not gone well for Sri Lanka. Just for the sake of because it's a segment, even though we have already discussed, these are the two games that are remaining for India. The game against South Africa on Sunday, and then the game versus Netherlands next Sunday. Uh, I don't really think that there's anything much more left to discuss, because we are going to have a lot of talking points on Sunday itself. And Avnish yesterday only had asked both of us about the game on Sunday when I said that there's a game today also. So yeah, I don't really think there's anything left to discuss. I'm just glancing through the comments and seeing if a good comment has come in, something that we can take up as a question or answer it. Melville's asking, think if Shanaka was the captain of the Sri Lanka side, things would have fallen differently? I'm
No,
not so sure.
Asia
I
Cup,
don't. Sorry.
Asia Cup final.
Yeah, and also whatever happened today wasn't really in the control of captain, because Sri Lanka started off well with the ball, did not get those wickets, which could have probably allowed them to be in the game much longer. And I don't think you could do much about this bowling anyway. Paras
Yeah, I
Arora's
mean,
asking. Yeah, go
you
ahead.
know,
Sorry.
just to I don't know. This is probably real worthy that such terrible was the conditions for batting that in Sri Lanka's batting innings, seven batters scored either zero or one. I don't know when has that happened ever, that you have seven batters scoring either zero or one. I don't know. It's just amazing to think again. For some it may be kya paka raha hai,
It,
but for nerdy people like
it,
me, it's like, yeah, sorry.
it happened when Netherlands faced Karnataka, I guess, last month.
Oh, still I don't know. Yeah, possible, but yeah, zero or one, seven people is far too many. Just tells you that nothing could have changed this. You could have had even better Sri Lankan sides also. The way the bowling this was, it would have been tough. So I'll not be cut. I'll cut all the slack that there is for Sri Lanka batters today at least.
I'll add another one. Amongst the top eight, there was only one boundary hit.
Yeah, fair. I mean,
Only one boundary
Sar
hit amongst the
Oh,
top eight.
Matthews, right?
Matthews to Siraj. He should
Uh,
get a medal today. Forget fielding medal. Sri Lanka should give a medal to Matthews for being able to score a boundary of Siraj.
Yeah, Paras is asking about Jamieson. How's Jamieson for Indian conditions? Because I believe he could be the replacement for one of the New Zealand bowlers. Not sure if it would be Lockie or Henry. Any thoughts on that, Anirudh?
Uh, I mean, I am not sure if how much of a difference he'll be able to make. He's out of match practice as well. He's not played a lot. So I personally don't expect him to create a lot of impact. It's not like he did well for RCB either whenever he played for them. I'm not even sure if Jameson will start, to be honest. If Lockie and Saudi are both fit, I still feel they'll go with Bolt, Saudi, and Lockie Ferguson. So, and also, I think, if I'm not wrong, I don't know, only two matches remaining for New Zealand, and both are in
Yeah,
Bangalore. So,
Yeah,
yes,
both are in Bangalore.
yeah,
yes, there again, probably not the greatest of venues for someone like Jameson to,
yeah,
make his World Cup debut, but
possible.
yeah, I don't think he'll be a point of difference as such, even if he comes into the squad.
Okay.
Cool.
Darshan, being a geek like just all of us, is asking, is this the record for most wickets taken in an innings by bowlers named Mohammed? Could be. It's something that we have not searched. But yeah, maybe Anirudh Kasargod can help us, who's our statsman. Yeah. Uh, Kanan B is saying, how come Shami not have a single LBW dismissal in all of his World Cup wickets? Yeah, how do you really explain this? Is it just a sheer coincidence? Because he's attacking the stumps, he's getting a lot of bowls,
Like
and he's getting a
47, like all his 45 wickets, zero LBWs.
yeah, I think zero LBWs
Are you
because
sure?
it came on commentary. I also heard that.
Oof. I'm shocked.
So maybe Shami is finally using that the other side of the luck that he had with Test, where everything was beating the bat. This time everything is beating the pads and either hitting the stumps or getting there. So good, may it continue because India will not mind if that number increases till the final.
One last question before we end it, and that question was about if Hardik is not fit for the Netherlands game. I'm just trying to find where the user is. Uh, the question is, yeah, here it is. From Kanan once again. If Hardik doesn't get fit for the Netherlands game, will he walk into the playing 11 for the semis? I believe so. Uh, do you think there should be any doubt on this?
I don't think so.
Don't
I
know.
Even if he's not fit to bowl, I feel he'll walk into the
Start
11
as a
in
batter.
place of Surya. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel so.
Yeah.
So no chance of Shreyas getting replaced after today, correct?
No, I think he's safe.
Shreyas though, Shreyas would have anyway been a very push, very tricky thing to
He,
do. But yeah,
he would have tested the management's patience if he had another failure today, but I
uh,
think he was already like in their good books, and after this knock, they won't even talk about him, I guess, for the rest of the World Cup.
yeah, yep.
All right. I believe there is genuinely not much to discuss. I tried to take as many comments as it was possible because the second innings was mostly a net practice for the Indian team, and I don't mean to disrespect Sri Lanka here. It's just how good the bowling was today that we really did not have much to discuss from the Sri Lankan side of things. A lot of questions came in about Shreyas's batting. It's something that we covered in the mid innings show. So I want those of you who've missed it to please go and watch that. You could watch the segments in that. We have already segmentized that video, so please do that. And do join us tomorrow because we have two games tomorrow. Both of them are very good games. I
No, no,
think
no, no.
no,
Tomorrow
no,
only one.
it's Saturday. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. This can get tiring
Paji is
tomorrow.
like Paji is looking to cover up for today's lack of game time by adding one more game
No,
tomorrow.
no. Tomorrow is Netherlands versus no
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan
Afghanistan.
versus Netherlands. Yeah, Afghanistan
Okay.
versus Netherlands. I was going to say Netherlands versus Bangladesh, and then realized that this match has already happened. How can it happen again? So tomorrow we'll be there once again for the preview and review. Please join us. And yeah, before I make any more mistakes, because I've had quite a few, let's just end this show.
कोई
Bye
ना
bye.